Well, good morning, everybody. This is Kyle Berry,
And this is Santi Lozano.
and this is Marketing and Advertising 101. And the marketing secrets that we are finding in today's day and age of working in a marketing agency to help grow businesses, small like little local restaurants to large enterprise businesses. And if you missed our talk yesterday, we really broke down on how to do an omni-channel approach for any business, on how to not stress out by using and leveraging multiple different platforms, and how to use the tools that you can find today to make sure that you are connecting with the consumers in the way that's comfortable for them on the platform they want to connect with in the most resonating way possible. And today we have one of my favorite conversations ever, and that's CRM, Client Relations Manager, discussing what we can do as business owners to increase our bottom line and leverage that current customer list. Santi, can you give me a little breakdown of what a CRM really is?
Yeah, man. So CRM basically is kind of just, it's kind of in the name of having that relationship with your clients, of making sure that you track where your client's at when it comes to interest, when it comes to adding them to any type of interest pools or lists, of trying to sectionalizing to see whenever there's an inbound lead to your business, how you can try to differentiate between someone who is a hot lead, a warm lead, or a cold lead. And then how you can assign them to a salesperson or how you can reach out to them. Lead nurturing is part of it too. So it's kind of keeping them engaged, and as well as just continuing that relationship with them.
And yeah, managing that relationship. It's funny because you brought this up in the last club about how to treat business and working with your customers kind of like a relationship. You can't just go in and ask for marriage right off the rip. You probably wouldn't get very far with that. You have to go on a few dates. You have to prime it. You have to make sure you really connect with the person. And that's really what the CRM is doing. Is the CRM gives you the opportunity to connect with the consumer in multiple different steps and stages in a very comfortable way for the consumer. Instead of blasting them with million bits of information, you can stay one step at a time and start talking about the services that you have, why it's great, then bring in reviews and really show that customer who you are as a business in a comfortable way to them. So why do you find it so important? Like personally for me, Santi, I'll go first on this. The CRM is so important for a business for three major reasons. One, the actual increase of the overall evaluation of the business. So when I first started my agency, I thought it'd be a good idea to go work with a bunch of business brokers because I was like, hey, they have a bunch of businesses on their hands. They should be able to connect me with people that are interested in looking for marketing and to grow their business. Well, one thing that he emphasized that he always asked these business owners in the process of the sale of their company is, if I sold your business today, what can the new business owner do tomorrow to instantly bring in business? And a lot of business owners will be like, oh, we have foot traffic, we have word of mouth, we have all these referrals, but none of those are concrete and consistent. So at any given time, if you sell your business off and you have a customer list of 10,000 people and you can show from a single email that you can generate $5,000 in sales, that is concrete evidence for a business broker to show an increase of valuation in your business. So again, to recap, the first one that I think the most important factor of the CRM is the increased valuation of your entire business by increasing that size of your list. Second most important aspect of the CRM is really the ability to move your customer down the sales pipeline. We brought this up in our first channel, our first talk in the club, and it's something that's super important to look at is each step of your consumer's buying cycle. And a lot of times we'll get someone that comes in, let's use a restaurant as an example, somebody that'll take a coupon or an offer, grab this offer, and then be able to have the offer in their pocket, but they might forget of you because of other competition, because of other aspects, and they never use that offer. Well, a CRM in that position will now have that consumer's information because they gave you their email for said an offer. So now you can leverage that email to follow up with them, to remind them of that offer. Tell them when the offer is going to expire. Tell them why to use that offer, right? You're able to move them from a consumer that went from not interested at all to showing interest by grabbing the offer, and then actually move them to a purchasing customer using the CRM follow-up system, using emails, text message, or any type of follow-up structure that you have built into that CRM system. And then the third and final thing for me of why a CRM is so important is not only leveraging the customer life cycle within the business, but to grow a community within your business. I cannot tell you how important it is to change your mindset from I'm acquiring customers to I'm building a community. Once you change your mindset to I'm building a community, the way you communicate via your emails, via your text message, via your social media postings, any way that you communicate with your current customer base will change, and you will see a benefit from that change. And in that change, it's a mindset shift of I'm not selling to these people, I'm trying to be there for these people. I have a product and service that these consumers have found a level of interest in. My needs and my expertise are great for these type of people. I just want to be here for this consumer base and be there in a positive and informative way. And you'll be amazed of how your whole business ideology in the eyes of the consumers will change from a service or a product to a business there to help, which develops an immense amount of referrals, a positive word of mouth, and an increase in the bottom line in your business. So those are my 3 reasons why I think CRM is so important. Santi, why do you think CRMs are so important in business?
Yeah, actually, before I dive into that, it's kind of interesting how like we keep talking about focusing on the clients that we have currently, and then that's you can focus on bringing in new business, but the CRM is going to be there to help you to kind of relate to them, like Kyle was saying, to be there for them, builds that loyalty to that customer for them to continue coming back and reusing your products or reusing your services. So kind of interesting that we like keep bringing that up of just like instead of trying to do that mass or focusing on that mass outreach to continue to build and rebuild that relationship with your current customers. The top 3 that I think are important when it comes to CRM is everything that has to do with the automation side of things. I mean, I'm a huge automation nerd. I love everything that has to do with workflows or just making people's lives easier when it comes to it. And so one of the things that a CRM has is you can start using sales pipelines and be able to track where a lead is at when it comes to if it's the client acquisition process of where they're at in that process, if they're interested, if they're not interested. When it comes to the onboarding, what step of the onboarding process are they in? So you can keep track as a business owner of where each client is at. Like if you see that a client has been stuck in one stage for a little too long, it might be just user error, someone not moving within that pipeline stage, or it could also be that your salespeople are slacking, or whoever is supposed to reach out to them aren't doing their job, or it's an opportunity to see within the business where those bottlenecks are. And by doing that, you can assign some of those leads to a sales rep. So then that way you start tracking the KPIs of these people to see how they're actually engaging, to seeing that activity within the customer, seeing if they're following up, if they're not following up, what the activity threat is, so that in case someone were to leave the company and that customer gets passed on to another sales rep or to you temporarily, you can see what the longevity of that client is when it comes to relationship and seeing what the communication has been, so you can just pick it up right where you left off without having to rely on someone else to try to fill you in, to try to brief you on it. And then the other side of things is all the automated flows too when it comes to lead nurturing, of being able to have a follow-up sequence for people who are interested in your product. Let's say you have an opt-in form on your site, you pull them in, then you start giving them a little bit more information based on that opt-in that they were submitting for, and then being able to nurture them so that way you can eventually get them on a sales call or a discovery call is what we would call it, and being able to follow up with that so that way you have email follow-up. You can even do text message follow-up depending on the CRM that you end up using. Yeah, I think those are the biggest things for me when it comes to CRM, and why I think it's important for a business to leverage it. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so let's do a little bit of a recap. So people that are kind of just falling into this, they're hearing all these positives and these benefits, but they're not quite sure how a CRM fits into the business structural system. So this is something that you would plug into your business on the internal operations side once the customer has once you have done advertising, once you've done your initial cold outreach, consumer has developed a level of interest and have either given you their contact information or have shown, basically they have to give you the contact information to be uploaded into the CRM. Once they're uploaded in, that CRM is going to help you move them down the sales funnel and step by step up the sales ladder, as well as retain their interest once they've become a customer to leverage them for referrals, reviews, and it's mainly done through email marketing. Text message marketing is also a capability, but to dive into some of the CRMs that are already out there. So CRM started off as basic email provider. So MailChimp, Constant Contact, Active Campaign, all of these email provider systems that are focused around collecting email data and sending out emails were the initial CRM systems that we would use inside the business. Over the years, they have definitely been optimized and developed to use automations, segmentations, and different triggering systems so that we can separate that customer base better. But that's our base level of a CRM. It's just a basic MailChimp or email provider. Then it really can crank up a notch and go into something like HubSpot or Zoho, both free services that have a lot more integrations behind them, a lot more open to any platforms, and doesn't just deal with emails. Now that starts dealing with lead scoring and developing of the valuation of the lead and holding a lot more information in the customer data. And then you could take it even one step further and find a CRM specific for your business or your niche. So Builder Trend's a great example for home improvement businesses. It's a CRM system that's specifically made for construction and home improvement businesses. And not only does it have an email provider, but it has its own built-in lead forms. It has its own built-in estimating tools. It can send out invoices, has DocuSign pre-structured and built inside of it. So you can see how all these little additional tools inside the CRM system itself can boost the value of that system for your business and really starts taking your business from a direct pencil and paper or a very hands-on system to a very automated system that is even more engaging to your customer base. Santi, what are some of the CRMs that you've worked with and what's been your favorite one so far?
Favorite one so far? That's a great question. I think what I think is the one that has been the most current when it comes to lead nurturing and also just customer relationship is definitely Go High Level. I think there's so many capabilities within Go High Level that, and this is in no way a sponsorship or any type of spokesperson to this platform at all, but it's I do think there's a lot of capabilities there when it comes to the whole opt-in forms. A lot of CRMs do that, but they take it a whole other level when it comes to the automation follow-up. So like there's triggers that you can do within Go High Level to send out a text message, to send out an email, to also have the whole sales pipeline also built in. You can also build funnels within Go High Level for your website. You can actually build your website within Go High Level and have the whole funnel structure there of doing upsells, downsells, and all that stuff. So you can really track that conversion and really track those events that happen within a customer. So you can properly differentiate an interest within a customer and be able to pull that in to a list, to a pool, so you can reach out to them in a more personal level. I think a lot of CRMs, they have a lot of those capabilities, but they kind of fall short when it comes to really in-depth being able to read what a customer's interest is. And then so that way, a lot of the follow-up tends to be more generalized and more personalized, in my opinion. I think that's been the most powerful tool that I've used. Other ones that I've used Build a Trend. Recently I started getting into that one, and I love the fact that there's a lot of it integrated within it. The only shortcoming of Build a Trend that I do think is that it doesn't have an open communication to other platforms, so everything has to kind of be done within Build a Trend. So I think that's one opportunity I think is for the app, which I mean, I've reached out to the product developers. Hopefully they bring that in soon, because I think that's a huge factor to that platform, because a lot of CRMs rely on kind of having that external platform coming into their CRMs. And then what are some other ones that I've used? Active Campaign is another one that I've kind of dived into a little bit. I think it's kind of cool there. It's definitely more of like an email provider with a little bit of capability when it comes to a CRM, a more beefed out CRM. But I think what's important to know too is that you can get the most powerful tool out there. Like for example, if you run out and you go and get Go High Level, I mean, sweet, but you're gonna get overwhelmed, definitely. I do think that little by little getting into the automation side of things, of getting that whole customer retention side of things, it's good to start off with a basic email provider if you're first getting into this, to kind of get an understanding of how email follow-ups work, how the whole sequencing work when it comes to emails, and then that way you can start leveraging those tools and start upgrading as you go to different platforms to transition things into a more beefy platform, so that when you get a juggernaut like HubSpot, like Go High Level, you don't run into a lot of roadblocks because you just see this massive spider web, which is like, how do I even tackle this?
Yeah, and people have made their entire business off of making these custom developed CRMs. I mean, look at Salesforce. Salesforce is huge and a massive company, and their whole existence is custom developed CRM systems. That's what Salesforce is. So, those are awesome, Santi. We've been using it inside marketing agencies. It's perfect. It's a great platform. It's also would be great for any type of home improvement business or anything that needs a strong level of lead nurturing here in the marketing agency world. You know, our packages are not cheap. We have, you know, anywhere from $750 package up to $50,000 packages. So we have to make sure that we understand each one of our clients' needs, desires, and understand how to follow up with them. And Go High Level is a perfect CRM system to do that. You know, some other CRM systems, if you're looking at just email providers, if you're in the e-commerce world, Klaviyo is amazing. They have pre-built structured templates for your abandoned cart emails, for your follow-up emails. It makes the system very, very easy. If you're doing a lot of flows and a lot of automations, say that you have multiple different email campaigns running for multiple different offers and you want multiple different follow-ups, Drift is very good for an email provider. And then if you're a local-based business, the CRM that we actually leverage within our own agency, and I don't know if I should tell everybody this because it is definitely a golden nugget, but Signpost. So in short, Signpost will give you the opportunity to connect with your customers in a way that's completely automated, hands off, and you do not have to deal with the day-to-day processes of emails, follow-ups, and referrals. And that's why I think Signpost is one of the most powerful ones, because it's so hands-off for the customer. And the value, the cost is very, very low for the value that it gives back to it. So something that I would look into outside of Signpost, Salesforce, and some of the major large CRM systems. I've seen people develop their own CRM system through an Excel sheet. You know, you don't have to, if you don't know where to start and don't know what to do, start off by simply putting all your email contacts in an Excel sheet. Put it together, understand, organize, and have an emphasis on the value of that list. So I can't stress that enough, and I think Santi's brought it up a few times here too as well. It's that list is, you've worked so hard for that customer. You've put money out there, you've connected with them, put time into them. There's so much value in the customer already just from your efforts and from the dollars that you put out. There's a call businesstrends.com that says that they said the probability of selling a current customer is 60 to 70%. So to think about that customer list that you have, that consumer base that could be leveraged inside a CRM or inside an email automation, you have a 60 to 70% of closing the customers on that list, while your cold outreach and reaching out to new customers, you have a 5 to 20% chance of closing that customer, which 20% is extraordinarily high for new customer acquisition. Right, so you're more looking at anywhere from 3 to 5% of an opportunity to close that customer that you're reaching out to. So make sure, what we're emphasizing here is making sure that you leverage that consumer list. The CRM, the whole conversation that we're having here is useless if you as the business owner or you as the marketer do not see a value in that current customer list. Santi, anything else you want to add here to the value of the CRM or how people should look at their CRM system in their business and what would be the most valuable thing for, you know, specific type of businesses?
I think, well, one of the things that I did want to bring up, and I can't believe that I actually forgot that I use Klaviyo. Like, that's like my day-to-day now, is using Klaviyo mostly. Just because that one it integrates so perfectly with Shopify if you're using e-commerce. To be able to track the events of a customer to see if they even looked at it. You can go as granular looking to see if the customer looked at a certain product and doing a whole follow-up, so you can suggest that product, and so you can cross-sell, you can bring that up. And so one thing that I do want to add on is, depending on the CRM that you have, look to see what the capabilities are when it comes to tracking on your site and being able to set that up correctly, and looking up to see how you can properly look at it in a more holistic view of seeing what that whole journey is for that customer. We keep talking about customer journeys. And I think this is a huge part of it too, is being able to properly track that journey within your CRM, so you can properly sectionalize and being able to pull them in to the right list, to the right pool, so you can have a follow-up sequence correctly built. I think that would be the only thing that I would add on.
Love it. Yeah, and something that we bring up here on every talk, and we'll bring up every talk going forward,
Probably, yeah.
is that, you know, to understand customer journey, you have to have your tracking in place correctly, and the CRM will definitely help with that tracking. Some of the CRMs even I've seen that have the larger capabilities, some of like the Salesforce, Builder Trend, and things of that nature. You actually can use UTM codes created by the CRM system itself to track every consumer that comes into the system, to know exactly what source they came from, what campaign they came from, even possibly what ad set they came from if you're using paid advertising and media buying. So it's super important, and yeah, Santi, that's 100%. I know we can't stress it enough that the consumer's buying cycle is something that we see being ignored a lot with our clients, and it has to have it's crazy that they just think, you know, the old school mentality about build it and they'll come is completely gone now. The competition's way too high, distractions are way too high, there's millions of different platforms, and consumers are interested in everything from, you know, food to anime now. It's all over the board, right? So just making sure, and again, you know, we say this and we stress this so that we hope the people that are listening don't hesitate to reach out to us with concerns and questions they have about tracking, about consumers' buying cycle, about how they can actually look at their business in a way that they're continuously looking to develop a higher level of profit month in and month out, and the best way to do that without an immense amount of stress on them or their employees. So I think that's all we have today. We'll be doing another Clubhouse tomorrow. Santi, how does about 2:30 tomorrow sound for you?
Let's do it.
2:30 tomorrow. Perfect, guys. So we'll be doing a Clubhouse tomorrow at 2:30. We're trying to do Clubhouse Monday through Friday, at least once a day for 30 to 45 minutes to talk about these topics. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, we'd love for you to join in on the Clubhouse, ask questions, put in comments. We'd love to hear from you guys and exactly what you're looking for in this content and in these marketing podcasts and videos. So please reach out to us, connect with us, so we know exactly what we can produce to make these the best for you possible. Again, this is Kyle Berry, and
Santi Lozano.
and it was great talking to you guys. Thank you so much for joining. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.